Good morning, Oracles. Wish I could be wearing a different shirt, but unfortunately, market still has the uncertainty. We've got the FOMC meeting tomorrow, which will give us some more clarity. And hopefully, as long as they give us the news that the market is expecting, we might actually see a little bit of green come out of it. And then it also depends on the words that Jerome Powell is going to be using during his interview to see if maybe that's going to tweak the market in any manner whatsoever. So looking at this, looking at how depressed the stock is, down to 760 yesterday, where are we going from here and what can we look forward to in the future? So we look at fundamentals. This is something we're constantly talking about on here because the stock price, is not reflecting where the company really is. So what can we look forward to in the future? NASDAQ hit officially the bear market for the year yesterday. So, Tesla's been in it for a while. So, what can we expect in a bear market? But, everything is going to be compressed. Has nothing to do with the company itself. It's the entire market altogether. So looking at forward PEs going into the future, I'm looking at, based off of my projections and my numbers, looking at the end of 2022, PE ratio based on today's stock price is 51. That's ridiculously low, especially for Tesla. Tesla obviously didn't go profitable until last year, so they were in an infinite PE. So you had to use a price to sales valuation, but now we can use price to earnings. And currently Apple is sitting at 25. And Apple is obviously a mature company at the top of their S curve, so they're very slow growing and they're still at a 25, and that's pretty depressed for where they had been. Granted, over the last 2 years, when you have no interest, zero interest rates, it's going to cause that to happen. But now we're coming more down to reality. The interest rates are going to go up. Things are priced in. So they're sitting at a 25, and they're probably going to be between a 25 and a 30. So looking at Tesla, end of 2022, I've got them at a 51 PE based upon today's stock price. So in 2025, based upon my projections at the end of 2025, the PE ratio based on today's stock price is going to be a 14. That's just silly low. And going out to 2030, I'm looking at a PE of 3. So obviously we haven't even hit the S curve yet. So once we start hitting this S curve, that could throw things off even more. And I'm personally, I think I'm more on the conservative side. I don't put a lot of FSD into my numbers. Definitely no Tesla bots yet into my numbers. A little bit at the tail end near 2030, just like a couple of dollars, but not much that's really going to affect the numbers. So thinking about all the different things that Tesla has going for them, my projections might be low. And so going with those numbers, we have a long way to go with the stock price. Obviously, we have a lot of macro environment things to get through before we can get to that point, but continue to look at the fundamentals. We've got the Model 3 and the Model Y in Germany are the number 1 and number 2 selling vehicles there. That's before Berlin's even open. Berlin's not even open yet, and they're already the number 1 selling vehicles. So think about what's going to happen in the future there. Now we're going to take a look at more fundamentals when it comes to what's happening in the macro environment. Elon did state on Twitter that resources are definitely affecting SpaceX and Tesla with the inflation. So we can definitely expect to see price increases in the vehicles over the course of the year, similar to what we saw last year. But this is one of the great things about Tesla, and when you're looking at any other stocks you're investing in, pricing power. If you have concerns about recession, inflation being high, rates going up, who is going to survive and do the best coming out of this, you got to look at the companies that have pricing power. Tesla has some of the best pricing power right now in the entire market. They have the ability to raise prices up basically as much as they need to offset costs of all their supplies, and the demand is still going to be there. Demand is continually going up, and the prices go up, but the demand keeps going up higher than the prices. So that tells me that there is no issue whatsoever with Tesla getting these vehicles out, and demand is going to continue to be there. People need vehicles. People need some mode of transportation to get around. And some people are looking right now, myself for instance, I've got a car that is definitely, it's 170,000 miles, got bullet holes in the back of it. I'm not looking to get much for my vehicle in a trade-in, but Tesla's willing to give me $8,400 for it currently. They were going to give me $10,000 for it a month ago. So if these people are out here and a lot of people are looking and saying, you know what, I've got a car that is way above value, I would love to trade it in, but I need a vehicle in return, and seeing where the gas prices are and seeing that we are moving into a renewable energy environment, I would like to get myself an electric vehicle. Tesla is obviously the most prominent name out there. Let me take a look, and they're going with Teslas. So people are now making a decision to make as much as they can on their used vehicle to make an upgrade during these times before new vehicle prices go even higher. And so while I do see consumer spending is going to eventually hit a wall where people are just tired of paying the higher prices for a lot of the products that they're buying, I don't think that's going to happen with EVs or even vehicles in general. So even when ICE vehicles do come back and their supply starts to build up on those, they're probably going to be selling out also. Don't forget, most dealerships have been out of stock or very low stock for the last year and a half. Tesla and other EV makers are obviously selling everything that they can literally produce. They produce it, it's gone. So Tesla actually sold more vehicles than they produced last year because they had carryover inventory that they were able to sell off. So whether that happens this year or not has yet to be seen, but I have a feeling they're going to literally sell every single vehicle that they can produce. So we're not going to hit that demand wall when it comes to EVs and Tesla. And Tesla's still going to have that pricing power to be able to increase prices while demand is still there. And so what this means for Tesla is having that pricing power means that they can literally determine whatever they want for margins. Obviously, they can't really factor in, they don't know for sure what the margin hits are going to be from costs when it comes to, ramping two different factories. They can get an idea of what it would be based upon what they had to do for Shanghai and the margin hits that they took there. But they don't really know for sure, but they can adjust vehicle prices up to be able to offset a good chunk of that. And you also have to look at the delay. So they are prioritizing higher end vehicles, FSD vehicles, that's more margin that they can work in immediately. But the price increases that they go through, you got to remember that there's the backlog. So, if they're backlogged a year on a vehicle, whatever prices they had set for the vehicle a year ago is what we're going to be reflected in for this quarter's numbers. And they were going through all the increases in price last year. So when we get Q1 numbers that are going to be coming over, a lot of those vehicle prices that we see are probably, like Q2 of last year, the pricing for those now getting priced in. And obviously, when it comes to Shanghai and the mix, and there's a lot of different factors that go into that. But because of the long lead times that they've had, the pricing we see in this quarter's earnings aren't prices that we're seeing with current pricing on the vehicles, it's prior pricing. And you have to remember that going forward. So as the prices go up, we will be able to see those margins in the future. So if you think about that, once Austin and Berlin hit ramp, just like Shanghai did, and when Shanghai did, the margins were over 30%, imagine at that point, the expenses of the initial ramp are gone. The prices of the vehicles that are going to be rolling in are higher prices because Tesla had the pricing power and increased the prices over time. So even if margins are hit this year because of the two factory ramps, when we get to Q4 and Q1 of next year and Q2 of next year, margins are going to be astronomical. And then as the price of the vehicles do come down, because we know that Tesla does want to bring down the vehicles and the competitive nature of everybody else producing EVs is going to naturally cause the cost of the vehicles to come down, Tesla will still have pricing power because they've got all of their supplies locked in at lower prices, at least most of them. They have margins that are going to be higher because of the fact that their factories are now at ramp, and the laws of scale are going to stay and dictate that they're going to be able to make more money on these vehicles because the more you produce, the less it costs you to produce those vehicles. And so as they bring the prices down, they will still have the advantage over any competition that is out there. And so when you see the stock continually getting beat down the way it is, remind yourself about the future and where Tesla is heading. Tesla is going to be coming out of a very down cycle in the market with one of the strongest fundamentals coming out of it. It's going to have pricing power beyond belief. They're going to have margins that they can control to whatever they want it to be. They're going to be bringing in a ton of revenue, and a lot of profits to go with that. So looking at the company going forward, knowing that the price is down now tells me that it is an excellent, excellent buy. And now with that said, I'm still not just dumping all of my money into it. I'm also realistic. I know the macro environment is still in a position where it's extremely volatile and uncertain. So I'm going to keep on buying the dip. I'm going to keep on nibbling as it comes down. I do not know where the bottom is going to be, but I want to keep on adding as it comes down, because when we do turn around, Tesla is going to be one of the forerunners coming out of it, and they're going to be a dominant power. Tesla is going to be one of the leaders coming out of it, if not the best leader coming out of this, of all the companies in the entire market. So for me, that's why I'm playing it the way I'm playing it, because I see Tesla coming out of this just dominating going into 2023 and 2024. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. What do you think Tesla's margins are going to look like over the next year, and why do you think that they're going to be at the places that you think they're going to be at? Thank you all so much for watching. I appreciate all of your support and feedback. If you have not subscribed, please do so down below. Sign yourself up for notifications. I am over on Twitter at OracleTim1. I share all of the latest Tesla news, pertinent stock market information, and all of my daily trades. Thank you so much. Have a great one.